residue of a further guilty realization that he still couldn't really bring himself to give a toss. On top of all this, or behind or below all this, there additionally lay a sort of muffled crust of guilty resentment that Colleen had rebuffed his attempts to have sex this morning. He would probably have felt more upset about this if he could recall the incident fully, or if he had been more invested in the effort, which struck him now as a reflex move powered entirely by the morning's predictable hangover horniness. He was disappointed in himself, because he did in fact want to make love with his wife very much, and, not that anyone was counting, it had been a while. This sort of footling behaviour was unlikely to advance his cause. "Who's going to feed the cats?" called Colleen from the doorway. The cleaner would be in to do the honours on Monday, but there was no one to hold the fort over the weekend. Although, had anyone actually mentioned any of this to the cleaner? Colleen always remembered about the cats, sooner or later, which was much more than he did. She looked, he thought, like someone famous who's just slipped out of rehab. Dark glasses, hair scraped back, flowing linen and cotton lines, incidental cleavage he couldn't help admiring, a battered leather handbag that had obviously been expensive once. She wore too bold lipstick, as she often did at such moments, and her scent, though by no means unpleasant, would, he knew, fill the car with its sharp citrus for many a mile, and keep his throat at the edge of nausea all the way. It was something in the quality of her morning skin that gave her away. It had a scrubbed, pinkish glow, as if she had been trying to scour away the excesses of the night before, and then paper them over with foundation or concealer, or whatever the modern lady uses. Not that he could talk. A while ago, at a client party, a passing acquaintance had complimented him on having the ruddy skin of a true outdoorsman. Andrew didn't have the heart to tell his new pal that he'd been sitting at a computer for the past 30 years. Colleen looked, he supposed, like someone trying to cover up a monstrous hangover. He looked, he supposed, much the same. No one, it transpired, was going to feed the cats. Or rather, they both were. Colleen remembered now that she had left bowls of dry food all around the house, to go with the many saucers and old ashtrays of water which Andrew had earlier filled and spilled in various rooms too. The discovery of this inadvertent yet surprisingly purposeful collaboration briefly delighted them both, and was enough to get them into the car, out on the road, and away. In accordance with time-honoured tradition, Andrew opened the gate and guided Colleen out. Though she was a much better driver than him, she hated reversing. But she would drive first. She always did. As Colleen reversed, Andrew quietly said goodbye to their Edwardian suburban villa, wondering superstitiously if this would be the last time he ever saw its peeling faux Tudor facade, its stone cats, its low-maintenance front beds. "Nothing ever flowers in our garden," Colleen had often complained. "That's because we never put anything in those beds that actually flowers," said Andrew. To which Colleen would reply, "Well, when was the last time you planted anything?" This argument had a cyclical quality to it, like a gardener's calendar. Houses and cars have faces, Andrew believed, and his house had long worn the generous, welcoming smile of a capacious family home, overflowing with benevolent bustle and delighted clutter. Back in the day, its pretty little patterned windows seemed to wink and beam at them in the distance as they wended, their weary way back, laden with buggies and scooters from yet another trip to the playground, or the ducks, or the local woods. But as the children had grown up and left, so the house had started to let itself go. From a distance it was still a pretty enough residence in a broadly desirable area. But look a little closer, and there were touches everywhere of middle-age spread, wrinkles in the paintwork and stretch marks in the walls, creaking joints and falling arches, receding sightlines and paunchy plasterwork. Now that they were leaving, Andrew saw his surroundings as if for the first time. That funny house on the corner that looked like a ski chalet,